Welcome. We're going to be discussing how you can build an all-you-can-eat MSP offering based entirely in the cloud. This offering is done using a variety of components, so we're going to talk about how you can assemble those into a complete offering. Those components include Tier 1 help desk, on-site support for LAN, printers, and other local devices, the cloud hosting environment provided by CloudJumper, the cloud migration project, which is a collaboration between you and CloudJumper to move the data, applications, users, and settings up into the cloud environment. The customer service, quarterly business reviews, or other services you'll provide to add value and maintain a strong customer relationship. And then some of the other ancillary services that you should probably include in all your offerings. The Tier 1 help desk is still something that the MSP provides and is a really important part of your value proposition. This is where you're going to continue to maintain and grow that customer relationship. You're also going to be the voice and face relating to the customer. In fact, CloudJumper, while we do handle Tier 2 and above support, won't have direct contact with your customers. That'll all go through you, and you'll maintain that relationship in a sort of white-labeled model. That Tier 1 help desk is responsible for passwords, for dealing with printing issues, connectivity issues, how-to issues. How do I run a macro in Excel or something like that? Those are all things you'll continue to manage. And then you'll triage, document, and escalate more complex incidents to our 24/7 team. We've found that once you move from an on-prem to a cloud-hosted desktop environment, help desk calls tend to drop about 80%. Of course, after the initial break-in period, the month or so when people are still getting used to the cloud environment. The way that breaks down from a cost perspective, we see that costing about $3.50 per user per month from the MSP's cost perspective. That's a $45,000 burden cost employee, and we're seeing an average of about a quarter of a call per user per month, with each call lasting about 20 minutes. The other thing you still need to do is maintain the local environment and the local devices. Now, what those local devices are doing has decreased significantly, and therefore they need a lot less attention and effort, but they still do need some support. So the compute load, the applications, the data, they're all up in the cloud, but we still have a local, likely Windows device that you'll want to put an RMM agent on and maintain AV. We don't have to back it up. We don't have to worry about warranties. We don't have to worry about a lot of stuff, but it still does need to get to the internet and be able to run the RDP control wrapper. The other thing that's pretty cool about providing on-site support is you can now sell to your customers an instant RTO and RPO. If you think about this environment, it's running in the cloud, and if their local device has hardware failure, they can simply move to a different device, pick back up where they were on the middle of their email or their work or whatever they're doing, and get back to work. In order to enable this, what I would recommend is that at each of your client sites, they have one additional workstation, Chromebook, something that they can go use in that interim. This means that when there is a hardware failure, you're not driving across town in an emergency. You can schedule a time a day or two later to come deal with the broken machine. It allows them to have instant recovery of their kind of ability to work, and it allows you to not be fighting fires. You're still going to do basic patching and provide remote support, but you don't need to do a lot of the advanced stuff. Just turn on automatic patching and let it go. The other thing that local devices are often used for, in addition to the RDP access, is audio and video applications like Skype or going to YouTube or listening to music, and printing and scanning relay. So when you have a Windows device, our application will relay the printer from that Windows device up into the cloud environment. We also have an optional add-on for scanning that operates in the same way. I've got some estimated costs here for the MSP as well. On-site support, we generally see about $10 to $15 per user per month. Again, when they're in the cloud, there's a lot less going on in the local site. But a $55,000 a year burden cost resource, about half a call a month per user, 30 minutes each, gets you to $10 to $15 per user per month. You also want to assume your RMM and AV costs are a few bucks a month. CloudJumper's cloud-hosted workspace environment is fully managed terminal servers. It includes a shared Active Directory with your client getting a dedicated OU. We manage antivirus, anti-malware. We put them in top-tier data centers with full DR and offsite capability. We provide you, the MSP, a proprietary portal for customer management where you can manage users, apps, security groups, folder permissions, and get local admin access to those VMs. That portal also includes billing, support, and dashboards, as you'd expect. And we have a Jumpstart utility which allows for fast cloud migrations. I'll cover that in the next slide in more detail. One thing that's worth pointing out here is the application management is a huge value. We've got a stack of somewhere north of 2,500 applications in our library. This means that in that web portal, you can simply drop down and select which applications you wish to be installed. Many of them are automated, and if they're not, your selection will create a case for our team to go install that. They'll work with you as needed to get the correct installers or to get license codes, but the effort and the labor required to install in the terminal environment is included, so you won't pay extra. If you have an application that isn't in that list of 2,500 applications, we'll also go through a certification process. Our team will, at no cost, figure out how to install it in a terminal environment, test it with you, and then add it to that list. We also provide Tier 2 Plus support 24/7, 365, meaning if there are performance issues, error messages, changes, or incidences that you need help with in the cloud, we include support for all of that stuff. It means you should only have to dedicate on-site and Tier 1 help desk labor to support this environment. Our model is also very MSP-centric. Everything is month to month. We're 100% channel, and the first 30 days of each of your customers is included to give you time to ramp them up before needing to capture any revenue. On average, we see the price landing on a per user per month basis around $50. It can go lower, it can go higher depending on RAM, CPU, SQL licensing, additional servers, and things like that. But across our thousands and thousands of users, we tend to see it's about $50 a user. So it's a good starting place. The cloud migration project is one of the hardest parts of this whole thing, and that's the effort that we go into moving their applications, their users, security groups, and so on up into the cloud. We're not forklifting their environment, and we're not reusing their Active Directory structure. So there is some work that needs to be done in order to get them to the cloud. That process will start when you put a quote into our web portal and click provision. It'll build out the environment in a few minutes, and then it'll allow you to either manually in our web UI entering usernames and picking applications, or through our Jumpstart utility, select which users, applications, settings, and data need to be in the cloud environment. The Jumpstart utility scans the local environment, both at the Active Directory level and for each user, and packages up their settings and their data, and also notes which applications they have. You can then, in our web portal, checkbox which applications, users, settings, and data you want to get reinflated up in the cloud environment. After that's happened, you'll jump in and organize any data you need to in the file share, change permissions on who has access to what, maybe reconnect databases, or move or configure applications, line of business applications that your clients need special requirements. You'll test it with your users, and at some point do a cutover. One of the nice things about recreating the environment in the cloud is you don't have to tear down their existing environment in parallel to setting up the cloud environment. You can have both running for a period of time to make sure that you're not jumping off a cliff with nothing to land on. Usually we'll see an MSP charge 1 to 3 times their monthly recurring revenue for a project. So if you've got a $2,500 a month agreement to put them in the cloud, we'll generally see the MSP charge between $2,500 and $7,500 for that project. I'd caution that you shouldn't let this be a sticking point. In fact, many MSPs will use it as a point of leverage. If you sign a 3-year deal, we'll waive the on-site pickup, or if you can sign by the end of the month, we'll lower the project to 1x instead of 3x, something like that. There's a couple other pieces that it takes to deliver a full all-you-can-eat MSP agreement in the cloud. And these are things you should be very familiar with. You want to account for customer service. Maybe you're going to do QBRs or have VCIO services. These things are really important for an MSP business and are not specific to our environment. The other thing I think is worth pointing out here, we're not going to be running a PBX or any other kind of phone system through our cloud environment, so you'll want to look at either an on-prem or a cloud-hosted PBX offering. Office 365 is an interesting licensing case in the cloud. In order to reuse the licenses that your customer has purchased through Office 365, it has to be Pro Plus or E3. Microsoft does not allow a Business Premium, for example, to be licensed on a terminal server. You also want to look at the ISP connectivity that's coming into your client's environment. It becomes more important when all their computing and data and applications are moved off-site. In fact, similar to the conversations many MSPs had around a battery backup for their server room, now people should be talking about considering a backup ISP with failover in case the first one goes out. All of these things present the option for getting a little bit more margin out of that customer relationship. So there's all these different pieces that we've talked about, and I want to walk through what they look like. So the top three of this puzzle, the Tier 1 help desk, the on-site support, and the Cloud Jumper Workspace as a Service, go into building your all-you-can-eat monthly recurring revenue. If you look at the total cost, we see that averaging around $70 to $75 per user per month. And as you likely know, the going rate for an all-you-can-eat on-prem managed services agreement is in the same range of $130 to $180 per user per month. There certainly are some benefits that you can sell out of the cloud environment and may be able to capture a slightly higher revenue. But you don't really need to change your model and your pricing, ballpark pricing schedule in order to get pretty good margins. You also get the advantage of being scalable without hiring as many new employees. You take that and you add it to the stuff you're already doing, migration projects, QBRs, VoIP and ISPs and Office 365, and you've got the complete puzzle. All this you can do by joining the CloudJumper Partner Program, cloudjumper.com/WLP for white label partner. We're a privately held 17-year-old cloud company. We only do month-to-month agreements. We're a 100% channel, so we have no direct customers and can't compete with you. We are the largest WAS provider in the space, and we have a very deep MSP focus. Many of our employees have either run MSPs or been in the RMM or PSA space for the better part of a decade. It's also worth noting we are an authorized QuickBooks hoster. There's a limited number of companies who are authorized by Intuit to host QuickBooks, and we are one of those. So if you have clients with QuickBooks hosting needs, that is definitely in our wheelhouse. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this presentation. Please feel free to reach out at our website, sign up for our free partner program, and let us know how we can help grow your business. Thanks so much.